Hey, what's up guys? So today I want to talk to you about how to find a property manager for your rental home. If you've been around this channel for a minute, you know that I like to talk a lot about managing my properties myself and a lot of the DIY stuff that I do to manage my rental properties. Today though, I want to talk about how to hire a property manager for hands-off operations. So this is like a house that you own, that you do not want to be involved in managing the day-to-day aspects of property management. How do you go about hiring a property manager? That's what we're going to talk about today. So please like this video, subscribe to this channel.
When we're trying to answer the question, how do I hire a property manager, it's important to frame the question. Now, I'm not just framing the question to get you to watch the video a little bit longer, which is great too, but it's important to understand what's really being asked. So most of the time when I get asked, how do I hire a property manager, it's by one of my friends who owns a home that they purchased at retail or slightly below retail price. They've lived in themselves and they're planning on moving out of that home, but they want to continue owning the home and using it as an investment at that point. So we're talking about when we talk about utilizing a home that you've already lived in this situation as a rental property, we're using the pillar of real estate investing called equity paydown. Now there's 4 big pillars of real estate investing. I talk about it more in my real estate investing course. I'll put the link down below, but you can see each of these pillars has its own risks and rewards. It's important to understand the risks and rewards of each before you go into it. But for the sake of this discussion, we're talking about somebody who is utilizing the home they lived in now as an investment, so they're probably more in the equity pay down sphere of real estate investing. So what's the big risks and rewards with equity pay down? Well, I talk about that more in the course down below, but today we're going to focus on how you find a property manager for one of that type of real estate investment. There's a couple critical assumptions that I'm going to make when you're looking for a property manager in this situation. One is that you don't want to become a real estate investing professional. You don't want to have to worry about every little thing that's going on with your rental property, and you want to maintain a relatively passive investment strategy. The property manager is going to take care of the day-to-day details and all the major issues that come up with your property with minimal interference in your personal life. For this exchange, you're probably not going to have a positive cash flow every month, but you will have somebody else paying off this asset that's going to provide wealth for you in the future. At some points, you may even have a slightly negative cash flow where you need to take your own personal money and invest it in the asset to cover a major expense, but that's going to be very rare and very seldom is that going to happen. It may happen 1 or 2 times over the life of the investment, but by and large, you're going to have a positive cash flow over the decades that you own the home. Also, you're going to have somebody else paying down the loan that you have on the property, and eventually you're going to have a paid off asset utilizing other people's money that has provided you a net positive cash flow over the years and then continues providing you a positive cash flow in the future once it's paid off. Additionally, you're going to have some tax benefits from the depreciation on the property and also for expenses that you put into the property over the years in the form of repairs. But a lot of those write-offs are going to be ultimately coming from other people's money as you're getting money from those tenants. So let's focus on how do I find a property manager for a house like this? The first thing to understand is that property managers are incentivized. Okay, that's super obvious. Who doesn't work for money, right? So the property manager is incentivized. So you need to understand how they're incentivized. When you're looking for property managers, some are going to be realtors and some are going to be property managers. So if you have a realtor that is also a property manager, you have to understand how they're compensated. So if they're receiving 10% of your rent every month in the form of a property management fee, what are they paid if they receive 3% of the net profits of a sale in a similar neighborhood? Your real estate agent is usually going to be incentivized to take the best applicants and steer them towards buying a home. So I'm not saying that a realtor can't be a good property manager. Just understand that when they receive a high income, high credit score, applicant for a rental home, they're highly incentivized to try to sell that person a home. And then what's left over is they're incentivized to take their applicants who can't qualify for a loan because of low income or low credit scores and try to steer them towards the properties that they manage as rentals. So just understand how those agents are compensated, and understand that if you do go with somebody for a property manager who is also a real estate agent, understand that they may be incentivized to steer their best applicants towards purchasing a home. Now you have property managers. So what about somebody who manages properties full time? It's important to understand where they fall on the investor scale. For example, if somebody manages properties, but they have hundreds of rentals in the same market that they're going to be managing your rental, they similarly have kind of a conflict of interest. Because if they have hundreds of rentals, it's very likely that they either have a vacancy or an upcoming vacancy very soon, and they may be incentivized to steer the best applicants towards one of their rental homes.
So, if you shouldn't use a real estate agent, so if there's probably problems with using a real estate agent to manage your properties, and there's also problems with using a property manager who owns a lot of rentals as your property manager, what's the solution? What I've found for these situations is best are property management companies where the advertising, screening, and selection of tenants is done by hourly wage employees are your best chance of success in finding a property manager. So what do I mean by that? Property management companies that have a large staff specifically dedicated to property management that are not owners of their own rental properties or licensed real estate agents trying to sell their own properties have less of a disincentive to put great tenants in your properties. So if a property management company has a large staff that's specifically dedicated to screening, selecting, and placing tenants, this is probably going to be your best chance of success in having a property management company manage the rental of your home. So how do I know what kind of property manager this is? How do I know if it's a real estate agent, if it's somebody who owns a lot of rentals, or if it's a property management company specifically dedicated to managing third-party rentals? The only way is to do your own research and to interview each prospective property manager. To start, what I would do is I would look for homes that are for rent in your area and find out who's listing the home for rent. Look and see if the listing agent is a real estate agent or if the lister is a property manager. If the lister is a property manager, then go ahead and contact them. Go to their website, look and see how many other properties they manage. Call them and interview them. Ask them, do you primarily manage your own rentals or do you primarily manage rentals for third parties? Next, find out about their incentive structure. If a property manager leads with how cheap they are, that's probably a huge red flag. Normal costs for a traditional property manager will include half of the first month's rent and then a 10% fee after that, 10% of the monthly rent every month after that. Additionally, a good property manager will also charge numerous call-out fees. For example, if an insurance claim needs to be made, they'll have a site visit fee. If repairs need to be made, they'll have a management fee for managing that repair on top of the whatever's charged by the handyman or the contractor. So at first you may say, well, I don't want to pay all these additional fees, but just think about it. Think about it this way for a second. If you go with a real estate agent who's incentivized to put the best tenants into purchases and not into your home, or if you go with someone who owns their own rentals and they have low fees, but they're going to take all the best tenants, now you may pay a very low management fee, but you're going to pay the cost in higher vacancy rates, lower quality tenants, and increased wear and tear on your home over time. So in the long run, It's better to find somebody who's incentivized to actually fix the things in your home, who's incentivized to respond to tenant complaints, and who's incentivized to put the best tenant possible into your home, rather than taking the short view and going with the property manager who has the lowest fee structure. I hope you liked this video. If this was helpful, please like this video, subscribe to this channel, and I look forward to talking to you next time.